My name is Shelda Smith. I'm an associate professor in the College of Education at Georgia Southern University. Today I'll be discussing the topic of what do educators, parents, and students need to know to prepare for online learning in the college and university setting in response to COVID 19. First, patience is your most valuable tool in these unprecedented and uncertain times. One way that we can exercise that patience is through the active use of netiquette rules. First rule of netiquette: remember that the person at the receiving end of your correspondence is a human being, so be kind and be respectful. Some other tips: have a subject line in your emails, a greeting, and a signature. There are many resources about netiquette rules available through a quick internet search. The commentary that I'm going to provide is going to be divided between what I'm saying to educators, and then to families, to students, and finally administrators. The first, faculty. I know that this is not how you imagine the semester would be, but that's the case for all of us. And so I want you to really be patient with yourself and with others. Our goal is to establish routines for a sustainably effective and enriching spring semester of distance learning. Pedagogically, there are some adjustments that will have to be made. This is a great opportunity for independent professional development where you can learn some e-learning management systems such as Google Classroom or Folio, Sakai, whatever it is your university endorses, but maybe one or two more. Also, this is a great time to learn some online tools that support instruction such as Zoom or Poll Everywhere or Google Hangout. No matter what, it's really important that your students feel your digital presence and that they feel confident and supported about their ability to finish the course this semester, but also really acquire some new knowledge and skills. Differentiation is still really important here, it's also really possible and it can be creative if you allow it to be. Consider allowing students to modify or propose what the final product of an assignment may be, or the process of learning some of the key concepts and skills within your course, or what the actual frame of the content needs to be. So long as the course objectives are met and you are flexible about the path that students take to master the concepts, then learning will be alive and it will be enriching. A few more tips. Be flexible with your deadlines. Think weekly and less daily. Clarifications through examples and non-examples are great in this time period. You might want to host some voluntary live check-ins. I usually do so in the evenings after 9 p.m. I use WebEx through the Georgia Southern platform, and one of the things that I try to do in those meetings that are voluntary is just be encouraging. 2, you may want to think about hosting office hours during your regular scheduled class time. That way students know when they can check in and they can focus on that subject matter as opposed to some others. When you do meet, whenever that is, practice some icebreakers just to relax the students a little bit and get them a little bit comfortable with this new way of delivering instruction. I practice highs and lows with my students where they share the high of the day and the low of the day. Some instructional tools that I do think you might want to develop in this time, two specifically, is a common errors checklist. At this point in your career, you've probably seen some common errors that are related to your subject matter. You may want to go ahead and document them so that students know that these are misconceptions or misunderstandings that they want to avoid. At that point, students can actually focus on the new knowledge that they should be acquiring. Another thing is to provide examples and models of what excellent work looks like, and having students really have a robust rubric to work with as they complete assignments. It's important for us to consider equity and accessibility during these times. While 100% internet dependent work is well-intentioned, it does leave out those who are on the negative end of the digital divide. So we may want to consider creating assignments where students can do them offline and then take pictures and upload them or email them. Many students are relying on their personal cell phones to access the internet in classwork. So we really don't want to make this a time when their economic circumstances are exacerbated in a negative way. With regard to English learners or students with disabilities, we still have to accommodate them and their needs, and we have to make that content accessible to them. So you may need to do some individual consultation with the students or their families and collaborate on how students can continue to be active participants in the learning environment. Remember that the university has offices able to support you in making your course more accessible. Training videos are great here. As you're learning new content, as you're learning new tools, you may want to record those for your students or be live in your process of making sense of it so that students can learn with you or learn from you how to access the very tools that you'll be asking them to use. Finally, classroom culture of professionalism and inclusion is so important here. Netiquette is just the beginning point. We want to think about how do we create a classroom environment where students are not experiencing bullying, where they're not experiencing any sort of social microaggressions and oppressions. It might not be avoidable, but you can set the tone for what sort of presence students should be bringing into the online space. I'm going to move on to speak to parents and caregivers. Your college students have just returned home, and that wasn't necessarily the plan during this time. It's really important to remember that you must be patient with them, but be patient with the university and yourself. We're all adjusting. If possible, try to contact your provider and see if you're able to expand your access to high-speed internet. Remind your children that they are still a student and a student first. So while they are a student, and while they also have to carry their weight in the household, try to resist overloading them with domestic and caregiver responsibilities. As much as possible, offer them a working space that is separate from active family life. Finally, let your children be the primary point of contact to the university. This is a great opportunity for them to be self-advocates and for them to practice communicating professionally. Students, we did not think we would be here, but we are. First and foremost, you really want to make sure that you understand you are still a student, you are being supported by your university, and you're going to be okay. Some things to help you be successful this semester. Be mindful of your online presence and maintain those netiquette rules that I keep talking about. Remember that you are intelligent, you're capable, and you're a scholar. You can finish this semester strong if you do a couple of things. First, manage your time. Stay focused on your schoolwork. Carve out the time to just be working on school. Adjust your schedule as needed in terms of how long it takes you to complete an academic task. Second, complete academic tasks. Task management is so important here. You want to get those assignments done and submitted, knowing that you gave your best effort. Ask questions of your professors and remain intellectually curious in this time. You didn't select your major for no reason. You're not enrolled in your classes for no reason. There are things there that you want to know and understand better. Also a great time to be autodidactic. Teach yourself some things and share it with your classmates. Online learning often requires more time and independent learning. Lean into that. In terms of maintaining community, consider creating a class group, chat, or an online group so that you can continue to socialize with your peers. Now, remember when I talked about task management? One of the most important things about task completion is backing everything up. Use the cloud, use Google Drive. Those will be your best friend in terms of keeping your assignments done and having a record of them. Okay? If possible, try to become more versed in the learning management systems that are available to you. And finally, remember to get some fresh air. It's still so important. Administrators, I just have 2 points that I want to highlight. The first is speak with a unified voice. Many of us are confused and lost in trying to figure out what's going to happen next. It's helpful when our administrators are not sending out 10 to 15 messages within an hour, but are really stepping up as leaders and letting us know exactly where they are after they've carved out a message that is clear. Secondly, this is a great time to express gratitude to faculty and staff that are really working around the clock to support our students to have the most enriching academic experience possible. Thank you so much, and we're going to make it to the other side of this. Take care.